If a student doesn't do well or just does okay on a summative assessment, which actually counts on their grade, they can reassess. They can reassess as many times as they want. It's critical that they get it right. Because we're switching, you're going to see we're switching from Ohio content standards to quality course standards. Now, let's assess kids based on what they've learned. That's what we do at Maysville. That has been a huge part of our cultural change. And again, these conversations made with parents, teachers, and going back to one of the first things Tom said was shared leadership in our district, collaboration. We've got PLT, professional learning time, every morning for our teachers, 30 minutes. They're together, either in instructional teams, curriculum teams, or intervention teams. 30 minutes every day. Okay? We do that. We have an instructional council where these teachers lead other teachers. Okay? And that's district-wide. And making decisions on what we do, because students are gigantic stakeholders, teachers are gigantic stakeholders, and so are administrators. Like Mr. Craner said, we're all one big happy family, and we buy in. We've gotten over some of those. Don't get me wrong, there have been bumps in the road.
Like brother sisters.
Yeah, there's some bumps in the road, but we work through them because we all have a common interest in mind, and that's kids. I'm going to go through these slides, and then we're going to look quality core for a minute here at the end. All right? This first one we have up here is our high graduation test. You want to be in that top right quadrant up there. You got achievement quintile on the left. That's how they actually did. Progress quintile on the right. These are going to be how they've done on past standardized testing. So when you look at OGT, a high graduation test, we've got everybody up here where we want them. I got to be honest, I can tell you for sure 6 years ago, we couldn't get math or science, we couldn't get social studies or science, and the reading, writing, and math were more close to the middle. But we figured that out, okay, and we get it now. You have to meet 75% of your students to get that indicator in the high school, 85% with your juniors. We basically score 94% or above with everybody passing it just about the first time they take it now. This next slide, it's got the 4 quintiles here. These are our end of course exams. Okay? End of course exams are written by ACT. All right? This is where the high school value-added data comes from. As Mr. Bader said, we've only had 1 year in our high school where we have done these so far, last year. Okay? We just started giving end of course exams this week for this year. Last year, we told our teachers, don't change anything. Okay? Teach the way you've been teaching, teach what you've been teaching, when you've been teaching. We want to truly see where we're at. And as we came across the board, you can see English, high school algebra 1 and chemistry, we were horrible. You look up in here, as we go English 9 and 10, it gets a little better. Algebra 2, pre-calc, and geometry, we're okay. Middle school algebra 1, which you can earn high school credit in middle school with basically the top kids, real good. Okay? So we know we had a lot of work to do.
And you got to remember, our OGT data was up in that right quadrant, top to top.
Remember,
some of our scores are as high as there are in the state.
Here's the difference. These are time tests. These are very similar to the ACT. We're going to show you a little bit. Well, Tom's going to go live here in just a minute on a couple of things. These are real critical to us. Now, this year, I haven't got our data back, but this year, we have, when I sat down with my teachers and went through this, the conversation centered around what we got back were, hey, look, here's your data. This is, you know, the chemistry one was a difficult conversation. It was like, look, it's not very good, but we didn't change anything. So we need to now sit down and look, what are you teaching? When are you teaching it? But if that teacher tells me as a principal, Mr. Ryan, you know, I taught all these things, then the conversation gets harder. Because now we're going to have to look at instructional practices. Okay? what are you really doing with them? Because they're not meeting this. Okay, we're not scoring very well against the other schools that are taking these end of course exams. Okay? It's a little easier when they say, I didn't teach this. You can drill down to the individual student, you can drill it down to the class. These reports are really good to look at, but you can take that and just say, okay, look, I didn't do very well here, but I didn't teach this. Well, they have a little bit of an alignment problem, pretty easy to fix. Okay? And that's what we did, especially with some of the ones that were struggling. But like we said, we got 30 minutes a day of PLT time. Our teachers are collaborating in their teams. They've got time now to work on this together. You got to get your schedule right. Any of you high school folks out there know that you've got to get your schedule right in order to be able to do these things. This next slide shows where we were with the ACT. I saw something, I don't know if this is right. Illinois folks in here, you can tell me. 2009, did they have all public school students take the ACT in Illinois, or did I see that wrong? Do they still do that? Okay, excellent. In Ohio, it's not that way. Districts kind of play the game a little bit and say, well, our top 30–40% of our kids take the ACT, and guess what? Our average score is going to look pretty good. We don't do that in Maysville, okay? We don't do that. We have all our kids take the ACT. Now, with an exclusion of our alternate assessment kids. We don't deny them if they want to take it. Our special education kids take it as well. With whatever accommodations, ACT are pretty strict, whatever they allow. But in 2010, you can see where we were, okay? And we didn't do anything about it. That's where we were. Our kids that took the ACT, this was our average score, like a 19.6 or something like that, okay? And that was the first year we had everybody taking it, but we didn't do anything about it, okay? We weren't real intentional about the ACT. This year, you can see which direction we went. We're headed the right way. That's not all of our scores in yet. That's what we have. That average went up to like a 20.2 or a 20.3. And this is all the kids that took it, but the plus writing scores aren't. We don't have any scores factored into that from all the students with plus writing scores, which are more of our top students, to be honest with you. I know of 232s, 231s, and 30 and 29 that aren't in that average. Okay, so that average is even going to go up even more. You can see where the national average ranks in there. I think Illinois was about a 20.7 or something like that, as I looked at that, and they were right around that national average. But when we start talking about comparing apples to apples, I know we're all talking about that. This is what we look at, is ACT. And we became an ACT testing site in little old Maysville, where every time they give the ACT, it's done in Maysville High School. Okay? It's done in Maysville High School. Our kids are taking it with their teachers as proctors, in their classrooms, sitting in their seats, and we can get our kids there. Okay? It's important for us. We pay for it their junior year. If they want to take it again their junior year, we pay for it. They want to take it their senior year, we're paying for it. Here's the simple reason why, because our people can't pay for it. We have an experience time built in the middle of our day, 30 minutes. Juniors and seniors get 3 days a week, 30 minutes a day, ACT prep. Monday and Friday, students get retaught and reassessed for our standards-based grading policy. Kids need to make work up and retest on things. We have over 70 students that have taken it a second time. I think 5 or 6 scored the same. There weren't any that went down in their score after having the ACT prep. Let's go into the Educator Resources on this site, because this is where you're going to have to see and understand that for high school, you're going to get your value-added data. At least we get our value-added data from this. When colleges call us, or our kids apply, especially out of state, bottom line is, they don't care what they got on their OGT test. What does mean something to them is that kid sitting down at little old Maysville, they're taking that exact same ACT as that kid out in Beverly Hills. Apples to apples. That's what they're going to compare. Okay, that's what people want to know, is how they score. Okay, ACT core standards for Algebra 2. And it talks about prerequisites to start with. Skills acquired by students in previous courses and refining this course. That's going to be listed as item A, 1, and then each of these individuals has a letter as well. Like for example, A1B, A1C, A1D. It's important to know because now when your teachers look at that, they can say, you know what, I'm not teaching that. Well, if you're given an end of course exam for Algebra 2, you better be teaching that. Somewhere in your curriculum, that needs to be taught. Or you look at me and say, I taught that 4 or 5, we had that, we've gone over that, and we're not getting it. That's where the collaboration comes in with the teachers all sitting around the table, the math teachers, and they say, maybe here's an instructional strategy that worked for me. Maybe Cindy's got the same end of course exam as Ed Geis, and we're saying, hey, I did that, and my kids scored well. Here's what I did during that unit. That's where that transparency amongst teachers and administrators, that's where everybody collaborates and works together. They've got it aligned all for you in a PDF file. Everything's aligned. But here's the part that we love and we use all the time, where it says launch test billing. You might be wondering, how am I going to create assessments that are going to help my kids with end of course exams, which are written by ACT? Over here, you have the cognitive skill level on the left. Tom, go top left. You have recall, identify, and define. Those are level 1 questions. You've got conceptual, interpretive, which are level 2 questions. You've got complex reasoning analysis, level 3 questions. What we ask our teachers to do when they give their quarterly assessments, 10 level 1, 15 level 2, 10 level 3. That's what the people have been telling is probably a pretty good mix. And this is simple. All we're doing, if we want, I'm looking at level 1 questions, and I'm saying, okay, I want the standard I need to make sure is covered is D1A. I can click on that item, and I can look at the question and say, I think that's a pretty good question, or I like it. There's about 250. Some of these banks have 300, 400 questions in them. Okay, they're always growing. If I think that's a good question, I'm going to drag it and drop it over. Drag that and drop that over. And then you'll find all the questions you want. Okay? You'll find all the questions you want, drag it and drop it over there, and then on the bottom click Generate Test. It's got the test all built for you. It's awesome. And it cuts the work in half for teachers. Okay? It cuts the work more than in half for the teachers. They're great assessments. It's exactly what the kids need to know. And as a teacher and you're collaborating with people, you've got a good understanding of, hey, this is what I need to be doing, this is when I need to be doing it, and if I don't have it right, I need to get with the other people that are doing it, and we can all sit down and collaborate and talk about it. Okay? I could go on and on, but I will not.
Get your teachers on board. I mean, how did you bring your example on?
Cindy, go ahead.
Like I say, value-added data, like when we went through that race to the top scope of work, that was the sticking point with a lot of our staff members. It makes them nervous. And it made me nervous at first. Like I told you, all I knew was red, yellow, green. And, you know.
Trust. You got to lay it out.
Being assured that, you know, we weren't going to be fired because we were red. And getting the buy-in. We've done so much professional development. And like I say, once you understand it better, it's not as scary as you initially thought it was in the beginning.
Yes.
So a lot of professional development.